Hi there. Well, today we are going to talk about the female reproductive system. And so here's the lesson objective for today. Um, it's really important that we've talked in the past about being uncomfortable talking about sex, but really it is the future of humanity that we're talking about. So there's no reason for us to feel weird about it or anything like that. And on the same note, I have a couple jokes that, I thought might loosen us up a little bit. So I just wanted you to know that globally, the lack of awareness for women's reproductive health is a major problem. So we really need to grow up and understand menstruation is not a joke. Period. Drum roll. Okay. And then another joke. How does the female reproductive system order its eggs? Ovaries. Okay. It's clear I'm the worst joke teller ever. Okay. Probably already knew that. So let's get started. What I want you to do is fill in the guided notes as we go. The words in red are the words that you're going to either type or write in to the guided notes. I guess you're all going to type them in. So what is reproduction? All living things reproduce in one way or another. Reproduction is the process where organisms make more organisms like themselves. And species mostly have two sexes, male and female, and each have their own reproductive system. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to fill that in on the lines. So the reproductive system allows humans to produce children, and there is America's favorite family, Kim Kardashian, smiling weirdly. And so how many kids do they have? 4? I'm not sure which kid that is. Maybe North. The female reproductive system functions. What is it for? What does it do? Well, it has a lot of functions. It produces eggs, which the plural is ova. If we're talking about one egg, it's ovum. Another function is to have sex. It protects the fertilized egg until it's fully developed, and also to give birth. That baby doesn't look very happy. The female reproductive system is located entirely in the pelvis, and the pelvis is the large bony structure near the base of the spine. So that also offers some protection to the reproductive system. The organs of the female reproductive system, the vulva and the vagina are the outside parts. And the vagina, you can see that it goes up. It's where the baby comes out, and also where period blood comes out of the vagina. And the vulva is those two labia minora and majora. Those are the vulva. On the inside, and actually the vulva and the vagina are the least important, really. The whole reproductive system is being driven by the ovaries, which we're going to get to, which we talked about in the endocrine system. The ovary houses the egg and helps the egg to develop. So we'll talk about that as we go. The cervix, another word for the cervix is neck. So it's kind of the space in between that connects the vagina and the uterus. Number 5 is the ovary. And number 6 is the fallopian tube, which it doesn't look like it's labeled on the picture, but it's the tubes that connect the ovaries and the uterus. So let's look at this a little bit more. The vulva is the external, outside part of the female reproductive system. It covers the opening to the vagina and other internal organs in the body. Next, we have the vagina. It's a muscular hollow tube that extends to the uterus. So it is where the penis is inserted during intercourse. It's also the birth canal that the baby comes out through the vagina, and it's the route for menstrual blood. For when if a female has her period, that's where the blood comes out the vagina. Like I said before, the cervix means neck, and it connects the vagina with the uterus. The uterus is shaped like an upside-down pear. It contains some of the strongest muscles in the female body. So the muscles are able to expand. That's how a baby can grow and develop in there, because the muscles of the uterus expand. The fallopian tubes, okay, now it's labeled here, connect the ovaries to the upper corners of the uterus. They're about 4 inches long and as thin as a piece of spaghetti. So when the egg becomes mature, it comes out of the ovary and comes down through the fallopian tube. The ovaries are 2 oval-shaped organs. They produce, and so we've talked about this with the endocrine system, they produce, store, and release eggs into the fallopian tubes in a process called ovulation. Next, we're going to talk about the menstrual cycle, or getting a period. So it is a 28-day cycle. The first phase is days 1 through 14, and day 1 is the first day that a female gets her period. If the egg is not fertilized. So the lining is shedding. And so what is happening inside is the eggs are released by ovaries into the fallopian tubes. If the egg is not fertilized by sperm, it dries up and it kind of like disintegrates and leaves the body through the uterus. And that's what a period actually is. It's the lining of the endometrium that is shedding and coming out through the vagina. So a female starts off with 300,000 eggs inside follicles that are all kept inside the ovary. And they're constantly maturing. Not all of them, obviously, not all of them are going to mature into full mature eggs. So some of them disintegrate. During the course of a menstrual cycle, only about 6 to 12 of them get even close to being mature, because we wouldn't want to have 6 to 12 babies at one time. So luckily, only one. I mean, there are people who have triplets or quadruplets, but mostly only one egg gets mature enough to leave the ovary. And it's a whole process of how that happens that we don't need to go into. But so only one egg leaves the ovary, goes down the fallopian tube, and is in the uterus. If it gets fertilized, then that process starts. If it doesn't, then the lining sheds and gets ready for when, it's like always preparing for when the egg is fertilized, so it's ready. So fertilization, if the egg is fertilized by a sperm cell, it becomes a zygote. Okay, it's no longer just an egg, it's called a zygote. And the fertilized egg burrows into the lining of the uterus. Okay, and then I have some questions for you, but I will show you those during class. Thanks for joining me.